With Chainsaw Man chapter 196, we pick up where the last chapter left off, and we get the answer and confirmation that the long-awaited debut of the Death Devil is finally here. And as is per usually the case with Fujimoto, whatever it was that you were expecting with the Death Devil, he just flipped expectations on their head, and he did the exact opposite of what fans might have expected. The only thing consistent with the Death Devil is that she is absolutely crazy, just like all of her sisters, which means that naturally, whenever Denji meets her, there's a chance he might end up simping for her. So we open up the chapter with the Death Devil telling the students in the classroom that she feels bad for them, and she's crying as she does so. But at first, we don't get any real answer as to why she's behaving in the way she is. But given she is a devil, you know that whatever the reason is, it can't be anything good, which is exactly the case here, as we'll see in a moment. However, Fujimoto takes the time building up to the reveal that this is indeed the Death Devil by trolling us as readers for a bit, by giving us the possibility that this might be the reincarnated Control Devil, which that is nasty work. The way in which he does this, it is a bait and switch done very well, by having the Death Devil crying even harder, and when she's told to take the trash out, she looks up and says that it'll be a waste of her superior talent. So right away, your mind goes with certainty that she is a devil, and her superiority complex as being above all the people in the room makes your mind start floating to the Control Devil, because surely it's too soon to have the Death Devil show up, right? Well, he lays it on even thicker by having one of the students get told, you take out the trash instead, and the guy, he just obeys her, which that makes you in your mind start doubling down, tripling down on the possibility that this is indeed the reincarnated Control Devil. Upon seeing their classmate take out the trash as a command, the other students, they start exchanging confused looks before they tell her to go outside and start crushing ants, because they're beginning to feel uncomfortable with her in the room. That, my friends, was our first sign that this was the Death Devil and not the Control Devil. The crushing of the ants, it gave it away. It's symbolic when you really think about it. A person who views humans as inferior to her, the same way that humans view ants as being inferior to them, is being shown crushing the ants outside as absent-minded as you or I might feel about stepping on an ant when we walk on the sidewalk. We don't even notice it's there because we don't even bother to look down. That's how easily the Death Devil is crushing the ants underneath her finger outside, and it makes you start feeling sorry for the student outside who took the trash out, who is near her, because you know his life, it is clearly in danger right here and now that he's dealing with the Death Devil, and worst of all, he doesn't even realize it. Sure enough, the Death Devil tells him that all their efforts for this festival, it's in vain, and that she has the power to save them through death, and she places her hand on the guy's forehead, on the top of his head, the same way that Yoru did to Denji when she was trying to turn him into a weapon. But just as it appears as if she's about to attempt to use her power to kill him, the unexpected happens, and a major Chekhov's gun, it has finally gone off in the story. The Chekhov's gun in question is the fake Chainsaw Man. He's finally appeared, and he grabs the attention of the Death Devil, though she doesn't take her hand off the student's head right away. But as the fake Chainsaw Man does his superhero landing, and he starts spouting off that he's come from the depths of hell to carry out justice and defeat devils, she takes her hand off of the student and she shifts her attention to the fake Chainsaw Man, now saying that she'll save him, which by extension means to kill him. And we get the ending shot of the fake Chainsaw Man, which is the corpse, which appears to have cracked blades and exposed bones and a seemingly rotting body. But there's more imagery with the appearance of this Chainsaw Man that we'll get to in a moment. Now, there are a few moments in this chapter that really should stand out to you. Like, for instance, the fact that Fujimoto waited almost 3 years of writing part 2 of the story to give us our first meaty reveal of the fake Chainsaw Man. Like, we saw him briefly in that Falling Devil arc, but this is the first time we're getting a extended run at this fake Chainsaw Man, and the fact that this might be the final arc, that is huge. Delayed payoff like crazy. We saw kill Yuko, but this was our first real shot, and given how many fake Chainsaw Mans are out there running around, for a moment, You'd think maybe this is another human, but the chapter gave us our first solid look at fake Chainsaw Man since what we saw during the Falling Devil arc. It's been so long that you have to rack your brain to think when's the last time we saw this character. During a time where it's clear that things with the Death Devil and this Nostradamus prophecy, they're starting to heat up for real. The only real question that we have right now is, why does this version of Chainsaw Man exist? Why does it look so disfigured? And given the goofy way that it is speaking, it does make you wonder if this version of Chainsaw Man that we're seeing might have been born of the perception of Chainsaw Man that Denji put out there with all of his antics, since we do know that devils are born and created and they grow stronger based on the fear of their names. So this could be the case here. Denji, a few chapters ago, he did talk about how he viewed Chainsaw Man as someone who saves people, someone akin to being a superhero. And if you really go back and you look at how Mitaka originally was talking about Chainsaw Man, the perception that she had of Chainsaw Man, it was twisted. It was not anywhere near a reflection of how Denji viewed himself and how there are other people who view Chainsaw Man out there. Could that have had some type of unintended consequence? It is possible. In this Chainsaw Man that we see, he has a flesh-shaped cape that covers part of his body and it covers the entirety of his back. And when you look at that, that really fits into Denji's perception that like Chainsaw Man is a superhero, which that would also explain that perceived superhero landing. If you've seen Deadpool, then you definitely get the joke. And if you've not seen the first two Deadpool movies, what are you doing? The other thing that this chapter does stand out is the fact that the Death Devil isn't what we thought that she would be, but she commands every bit of presence that you would have to come to expect from someone like her. It's a subversion of expectations, and yet it's the one that ironically works when you sit down and you think about it, because she shows a lot of range in her character. She goes from sad to pitiful to funny to controlling to conceited, all within moments, which makes her someone who has potential to really work the cast of characters who we've been seeing in the story so far, lining up to oppose her. And the dynamic that she has with Yoru is going to be something very interesting to see, given how Yoru can be a bit of a brat at times. And when you factor in the fact that like Fami seemingly has her own motivations, Yoru has her own motivations, these are some very strong personalities. And I do wonder if it is intentional by Fujimoto, the fact that Makima, out of all these sisters, is the only one that was an adult and had a job, and all the rest of them, they have bratty tendencies. It really makes you wonder. What's also interesting here is that there's a deep cut Easter egg in this chapter as well. The way that we see the Death Devil crushing the ants, it is very similar to what we see with how in the Hell arc from part 1 of the story, we had the full closed fist that was severed from a body, where the ants, they're just moving away from it, which is the sign that things, they're about to get even messier, just as they did when we went to Hell in part 1 of Chainsaw Man, which makes sense when you think about it. We did get told that once the Death Devil makes her presence known, all the higher ranking devils, including the reincarnated Control Devil, will show up, which makes you wonder if things don't end up badly for the fake Chainsaw Man as a result. Sadly, we will have to wait a couple weeks for the next chapter to come out, since the next chapter will come out on the 25th of this month. But while you wait for the next Chainsaw Man chapter, click here to check out more videos from Anime Explained. And obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more Chainsaw Man content.